Good evening, folks. This is Andy Pedraza with Special Effects Academy. We're on the start of the week session in the Forex training room for September 13th of 2020. We're going to be going through our usual agenda. A look at the prior week, our currency strength meter for the past week and month, any fundamental announcements on the calendar for this week, a look at what the major pairs are doing on the daily charts, any setups we see in progress, and a few parting words in conclusion. Starting with just a long-term ledger on screen, no significant change, really a flat week across the board. We're down couple of percentage points, basically on a couple of 4 trades closed out, 2 of them at a loss, 2 of them at a win, and the losers were just slightly higher than the winners. Plus the cost, of course, it does cost money to keep trades open. So between the 2 of them, we slid back about, I'm going to say $50 or so. So again, for all intents and purposes, a flat week. Intermediate ledger, same thing, significant changes, no trades open at this point, which is rare on the intermediate. We do have pending orders in place, so no significant changes here either. And the short-term account, same thing. We were up by almost 1.5%. Again, negligible change, but still move in the right direction. All 4 trades that we placed were winners this week. Unfortunately, they didn't move enough, or in the one case where they did move significantly was the euro dollar. We got taken out on a retracement, and then after that it moved even higher, but by that time we were out, and it did retrace after that, so there was no point in chasing the market. So we are up very slightly. Notes and opportunities for improvement. As I said, it was a flat week, except for the pound. The pound did manage to collapse on renewed Brexit fears. It wasn't a deep retracement as these things go. It's still very much near the top of the charts, or at least beyond the middle, but still it was a setback for the pound. I am expecting, and these are the pending orders we have in place right now, for the pound to stage a bit of a recovery in the near future. So if that happens, we will be taking advantage of it with the pending orders. I'm probably going to be placing pending orders on the short-term account as well, in case we have a sharp movement to start off the week. Additional breakouts do look still to be imminent, so we have to keep a close eye on breakouts. The social unrest in the U.S. is continuing leading up to the November elections. It really shows no sign of stopping. This past weekend, we had Black Lives Matter activists actually shoot police and put them in the hospital. They are at risk of losing their lives. And on top of that, there was a protest at the same hospital with people chanting that the cops should die, and trying to break into the hospital. So not sure why the authorities are not doing much about this. Personally, I would be shooting to kill at this point. But hey, I'm not the one in charge, and it's probably better that I'm not the one in charge. Commodities such as oil, silver, and gold continue to attract buyers, though oil did suffer its biggest retracement in the last few months. We'll look at that chart very shortly. And of course, our live event is still happening at the end of this month through the 2nd of October. Details are on the website. Let's take a look at our relative strength meter for the month and week. If I can direct your attention to the 2 columns at the extreme right, the last one is the monthly. We can see that the euro pound was one of the biggest movers for the week, along with pound JPY and pound dollar. So a very significant retracement in the pound, as I mentioned earlier. And silver has given up about 5% this month. It's still very close to its most recent high, but it is sliding back somewhat. Gold as well, but not as deep. Gold has slid back about 1.25%. Other than that, for the month, there are no significant movers. For the week, of course, the pound pairs continue to lead the herd as the pound slid back. Fundamental announcements for the week. We have quite a busy week ahead of us. We have interest rate decisions coming out of, let's go in order, the Fed, U.S. interest rate decision. We have the Bank of Japan, and then we have the Bank of England. We also have meeting minutes coming out of the Reserve Bank of Australia on Monday, so tomorrow evening. The employment numbers out of the UK also coming out tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. So those two will be traded live. And of course, we have the employment change out of Australia on Wednesday evening. So I will take a moment here to point out that the key events are going to be the interest rate decisions. The Fed on Wednesday, the Bank of Japan also on Wednesday, and the Bank of England on Thursday morning. So those events will all be traded live as shown on your screens right now. And of course, do check the email that will be going out to see the exact times and schedules for all these live trading events. With that, we move on to the charts. As I mentioned, oil has slid back pretty sharply. It's broken below 40 for the first time since back in June or July. Doesn't look like anything resembling a crash, but it is showing weakness as it tried to make higher highs. So at this point, we're waiting to see which way it's going to break. Moving on to the currencies, euro dollar has been flat, hugging the top of the chart at the 119 for the past couple of months at least. We're still waiting for that breakout. As I mentioned, it did try to make a very sharp move up on Thursday. You can see that on the chart, the next to last candle. It hit resistance and immediately popped back down. On Friday, it was trying to work its way up when market closed. Pound dollar, and we're going to see this on all the pound pairs. We did have a complete collapse of the pound, and in the case of the pound dollar, going all the way back out the outer trend line as fears of Brexit have grown critical in the past couple of weeks. It looks like negotiations aren't going anywhere, and the December deadline for the UK to exit the European Union, which the key thing there is the customs union for trading, is imminent. We're now 3 months and change away from that event. So I guess fears are coming to the foreground, and the pound suffered. I think it's, I mean, nothing has changed other than December looming on the horizon. So I do think we're going to see somewhat of a pound recovery, and especially the dollar. I don't expect the dollar to do well in the next few months. So I would say that there's every chance that the pound dollar will test the highs again, and we're going to be poised to take advantage of that. Of course, if it does break support, we'll trade it in the opposite direction. We are agnostic. But I think the smart money right now would be on a recovery. Might not be a lasting recovery, but we don't care about that. What we want to make is our money on whatever day or week it happens. We're not trying to marry the pound. Moving on, USDJPY also flat, bouncing between about 100 pips worth of resistance and support. The yen has been trying to gain strength. It hasn't managed it, and the USD has been dropping, which has this pair pretty much trapped in a sideways range. And as usual, we'll be waiting for a breakout in the direction. USDCAD, quite a different story. It is dropping quite nicely following that long trend line that started back in March. We have seen retracement towards dollar strength, towards the trend line there in the past couple of weeks, but I do not think this is going to last. So we are waiting for the opportunity to go short again. And of course, if it goes in the opposite direction, we'll do that as well. USD Swiss also sideways, so it is suffering from the same sort of problem as the USDCAD, and we're waiting for that breakout. Aussie dollar hugging the top of the chart. When I say that breakouts are imminent, this is one of the charts I mean. I'm waiting for that to pop above resistance again, and we will be going long as soon as that happens. We're already long, I think, on the long-term account on this pair, and that's not going to change so long as support continues to hold. Kiwi dollar, same thing, very much near the top of the chart, and we are very much waiting a breakout towards the top to trade it. Though if it does break towards the bottom, I'll take that just as quickly. All we want is for it to break out of the sideways pattern. Aussie CAD, same thing, very much near the top. We're waiting for that breakout or support to break either way. Euro Swiss is probably the one chart I have on ignore right now. It's completely crazy. It's going in all directions pretty much every other day. It changes direction, and it's not a big movement. There's maybe 100, 120 pips between the top and the bottom of that movement. So it's not even giving us a good trading range for channel bounces. So this is one that will continue monitoring, but I'm in no rush to be trading it until it does break out of its current pattern. Euro pound, all the pound pairs did this, so no surprise. It did a break towards the top, and it is hitting the bottom of a trend line, which is acting as resistance. This is one of those pairs, and indeed all the pound pairs, I am looking for the counter reaction in order to trade the retracement, but time will tell. Moving on to EURJPY, yet another chart that is very near the top, and we're waiting for the breakout or support to break either way. I think in my case, I'm waiting for the support to break in order to trade it down. I think the yen has suffered enough, but again, the market is the final arbiter. So we will be waiting for the movement to happen, and then we will trade it. Euro Canadian, it retraced and established a new outer trend line only in the past couple of weeks, bounced off of that, and is now trying to look for the top again. This is another one of those charts where it could go either way. Both the Euro and the CAD have positive things happening right now. So another one where we're going to wait for the break to actually happen. Pound JPY, it's a pound pair. What can I say? It dropped all the way to a strong level of support around the 135.50, and this is another one where we have pending orders in place to take us in if it starts rising. Aussie JPY at the top, we're waiting for the breakout or the support collapse. Until that happens, we'll be observers. Euro New Zealand, we were trading it down. We made some good money in the past month or so. Now it's retracing. I'm still thinking I want to short it. I want to sell this pair, but we're waiting for the movement to begin and for support to be broken. Pound CAD, again, it's a pound pair, and again, we have pending orders in place to take us into the recovery if and when it happens. In all these pound pairs, I think it was an overreaction, and I think it overextended, which is why I'm waiting for some sort of recovery. Of course, the market is the one making the decision, so this could keep going down. It could go below the bottom of the visible chart here. But again, that's not what I'm here. I'm not here to predict. I'm here to make educated guesses and wait for the market to confirm, at which point we will jump in. So pending orders in place to take us in long. And pound Swiss, also pending orders in place to take us in long, except that on Friday, one of these triggered. So we are long on the pound Swiss on the long-term account, a very small position, but we're already looking at support to be holding and trying to trade it back up. No change. Market is open right now. It's been open for about an hour and change. Opens at 5 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Sunday. So I've already looked at the open trades, and there has been no change since Friday. We're pretty much at the same levels. So the only account with open trades is the long term. And one of those trades, the pound Swiss, is exactly where it was when market closed on Friday. It's, moving up and down by a pip or two, but not moving away from current price. So that's where we are. Those are your charts for the week and a little bit of my analysis. Setups we see in progress. Of course, the pound pairs, the separation deadline fears are coming to the fore, and there is an interest rate decision this week. As I said before, I think the market overreacted. When that happens, you can expect a very sharp correction pretty soon. So we're poised to take advantage of that. The USD pairs, the election cycle is overshadowing everything else, even the virus. And of course, I mentioned this before, police being attacked in the streets, rioters firing live ammunition at the police, injuring them. They are in the hospital, two of them in Los Angeles. And we have rioters at the hospital chanting that they want them to die. So this is something I honestly did not expect to see in my lifetime, but there you have it. It is happening. The only question is, why is nothing being done about it? So something's got to give soon. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop there. I don't think it's going to be pretty when it happens. And of course, we have an interest rate decision coming out this week. Australian pairs, no change other than, the Australian economy keeps bouncing one day. There's positive news. The next day, it's a glum outlook, and we're waiting for a break there. But the Australian pairs are pretty much at the highest level of Aussie strength we've seen in the past couple of years. And they're coming off an even longer downward cycle. So the recovery is still in play. And indeed, these Australian pairs could go much higher. Canadian pairs, I think that overdue correction into CAD strength is beginning to rear its head. But we'll see how that pans out. Of course, against the dollar, it's doing perfectly well, but against most of the other currencies, it is lagging. So there are probably going to be some good opportunities to trade the Canadian back into strength when that movement actually kicks in. Last but not least, the Euro pair stimulus plans, which are old now, months old, but they're still in play, and the market is still reacting positively to all that. And of course, a better economic outlook than most of the other economies, at least at this point in time. So that's where we are. Some final words here. I usually like to end these sessions with a few, at least a lesson. And today's is that the way you think definitely matters. I see people start trading all the time due to my activities and my visibility. I get contacted by a lot of folks. And they almost always think that trading involves being right. A few losses and they're going to throw in the towel. I've seen it happen. Thankfully, the ones who speak to me before they start out, I give them a few tips and try to straighten them out. And in many cases, I do manage to make a difference. At least they know that it's not about being right and that they should expect some losses along the way. Being right has nothing to do with successful trading. And if you think you can avoid losses, that's like a marathon runner telling me he's going to avoid fatigue. You're going to be running 26 miles, you're going to get tired. It's not about tired. The guy that finishes first didn't do so because he never got tired. He did so because he pushed on beyond the fatigue, and he trained and he prepared himself, and that's what's going to get him over the finish line first. You're going to be wrong a lot when you're trading, so don't trade your beliefs. It's that simple. Trade what the market is doing. And even then, even if you're doing everything perfectly, you're going to have losses. So the secret there is do not risk more than you can afford to lose, because you are going to have losing stretches. But at the same time, keep your upside high, because eventually the market is going to come back your way. And then what you don't want to do is limit your profit. You want to limit your losses, never limit your profit. And I've yet to meet a successful trader who didn't understand all that. Doesn't mean you have to begin trading knowing all that, but if you don't get it somewhere along the way, either because you picked it up by yourself or because somebody told you, you're not going to be a successful trader. So this is something you need to be aware of, and hopefully you are making sure that you are aware of it. Even if you don't get it right now, even if you disagree, make a mental note and come back to this pretty often. That's going to be it for me this session. Any comments or questions from anyone? Okay, then I'm going to let you all go. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will be back tomorrow for our regular evening session. Have a rest of a great Sunday.